This is Capital. It is 6:37 now. A special news report
from Global's newsroom in London. Buckingham Palace has confirmed Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has died. She was 96 years old. Our reporter, Simon Conway, looks back at her life.
When Elizabeth Alexandra Mary was born on April the 21st, 1926, nobody suspected she was destined to rule. But at the age of 10, the course of her life changed. Her uncle's abdication to marry a divorcee saw her father, the Duke of York, become king, and Elizabeth his heir. She began her public duties at 14 amid the Second World War, and this provided the backdrop for her first public broadcast.
We are trying to do all we can to help our gallant sailors, soldiers and airmen. And we are trying, too, to bear our own share of the danger and sadness of war.
Indeed, she did her bit for the war effort.
Princess Elizabeth has now passed her tests as a fully trained motor driver and mechanic.
And, like thousands of others, had a sweetheart in the forces, her third cousin, Prince Philip of Greece. They married at Westminster Abbey in November 1947. The following year, the couple's first child, Prince Charles, was born, and 2 years later, Princess Anne. But George VI's health was failing, and while the royal couple were in Kenya, the news came through that the king was dead. At the age of just 25, Elizabeth was queen, and Britain entered a new Elizabethan age. As the nation prospered, the royal family grew, first with the arrival of Prince Andrew, and then Prince Edward.
Well, the Queen was always as far as I'm concerned, was a fantastic mother. I remember when I was growing up, we used to go on those extraordinarily long tours. But then we made up for it in the holiday time, when we had the most fantastic time together.
While she was head of state, Prince Philip was head of the family.
Tolerance is the one essential ingredient of any happy marriage. You can take it from me that the Queen has the quality of tolerance and abundance.
It was a quality she needed more than ever in the 1990s, when the marriages of two of her children collapsed. The fire at Windsor Castle seemed to symbolise the deterioration of the royal family's esteem.
It has turned out to be an annus horribilis.
But there was worse to come with the death of Princess Diana in 1997. The Queen was criticised for her reserved response and ultimately was forced to make an unprecedented live broadcast to the nation.
I admired and respected her for her energy and commitment to others, and especially for her devotion to her two boys. I, for one, believe there are lessons to be drawn from her life and from the extraordinary and moving reaction to her death.
Another period of grief would follow in 2002, when the Queen lost her sister, Princess Margaret, and then Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, in the space of 2 months. In 2011, Her Majesty paid an extraordinary visit to the Republic of Ireland. For so long out of bounds due to the Troubles, this trip was the first by a British monarch in 100 years. Speaking in Gaelic at the state banquet paved the way for an act once deemed unthinkable. During her Diamond Jubilee tour of Northern Ireland, the Queen shook hands with Deputy First Minister Martin McGuinness, a former commander in the IRA, the group which killed her cousin, Lord Mountbatten, in 1979. As she reached her 90s, the Queen was confronted with a number of crises within the royal family. First, the scandal surrounding her second son, Prince Andrew, and his links to the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. After an excruciating TV interview, the Duke of York agreed to step back from public life. Months later, the Queen's grandson, Prince Harry, and his wife Meghan made a surprise announcement that they no longer wished to be senior royals and wanted a new life away from media intrusion. Her Majesty publicly expressed her disappointment at their decision, but she ordered a compromise agreement to be found over their future roles. And Harry made clear that his support for the Queen had not waned.
I will always have the utmost respect for my grandmother, my Commander-in-Chief, and I am incredibly grateful to her and the rest of my family for the support they have shown Meghan and I over the last few months.
In a rare address to the country during the coronavirus pandemic, the Queen drew on her wartime experience as she sought to rally the nation through the crisis.
We should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
But the Queen faced the harsh reality of the pandemic when COVID restrictions forced her to sit on her own at the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh. After 73 years of marriage, Prince Philip died in April 2021 at the age of 99. He was the longest-serving royal consort in British history and was, in Her Majesty's own words, her strength and stay. In the days that followed his death, Prince Andrew said his mother was incredibly stoic.
She's contemplating, I think is the way that I would put it. She described it as having left a huge void in her life. But we, the family, the ones that are closer, are rallying round to make sure that we're there to support her.
Although she was known for her stoicism and composure, the Queen wasn't afraid to show her sense of humour at times. From jumping out of a plane with James Bond at the London Olympics.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
Good evening, Your Majesty.
To having tea with Paddington Bear at Buckingham Palace.
Perhaps you would like a marmalade sandwich. I always keep one for emergencies.
So do I. I keep mine in here.
Oh.
For later.
That second skit was recorded for the celebrations to mark her Platinum Jubilee in 2022, a first for a British monarch. By this time, the Queen was struggling with her mobility, and public appearances had become rare. Over a 4-day special weekend, Her Majesty appeared on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, along with the next generations of the royal family. The Jubilee included a flypast, a pageant, and a star-studded concert outside the palace. Prince Charles paid tribute to the Queen's extraordinary reign.
You have met us and talked with us. You laugh and cry with us. And most importantly, you have been there for us for these 70 years. You pledged to serve your whole life. You continue to deliver. That is why we are here.
Nearly a third of the planet looked to the Queen as leader of the Commonwealth, and skillfully she balanced life as head of state while seeing her family grow. She leaves behind her 4 children, 8 grandchildren and 12 great-grandchildren. The Queen embodied old-fashioned values of virtue, faith and self-restraint, honouring to the very end the pledge she made when she was just 21.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service, and with the support of my family, rededicate myself to the service of our great country and its people, now and in the years to come.
Britain's longest reigning monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Remembering the life of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Buckingham Palace has confirmed she has died at the age of 96. From Global's newsroom, I'm Tim John.